If we are ever going to get back to the old America, that's got to be the Democrats' part of the bargain. Stop coming up with radically new and often terrible ideas, and then in the next breath, insist there be no debate about any of it. That if you don't see it right away and go along, you're bad, stupid, and deplorable. As if you were saying, duh, 2 + 2 = 5, isn't that obvious? Yeah, it's obvious you can't add. You can't just say.
On the newest episode of Real Time with Bill Maher, the host unleashed another scorching critique of the left's fixation on woke culture. With the nation standing at a pivotal moment, the philosophical divide between progressives and conservatives grows larger every day. Maher insists that the American experiment can only endure if the left finally lets go of these ideological fantasies. His message was sharp, unfiltered, and impossible to ignore. Let's break it all down.
But as it is so late in the game, let's just go right to the granddaddy of bargains now. The left will seriously quash all their loony woke, and the right will stop the slide into autocracy. That's really the only card left to play.
I'll play the clip shortly, but let me emphasize this up front. I'm fully on Maher's side here. If the left genuinely wants to rebuild national unity, it must break free from its endless devotion to woke orthodoxy. This isn't about silencing liberal voices. It's about recognizing that extreme ideological purity is tearing the country apart instead of stitching it together. Sure, conservatives have their own issues, no side is flawless. But as Maher bluntly highlights, a massive share of today's political dysfunction comes from the left's refusal to self-correct. And trust me, he's about to detail exactly how deep the problem runs.
The basic problem we have in America is conservatives think the liberals are insane, and they're not completely wrong. Now, I don't think most liberals are insane, but neither do they make it clear they disapprove of the ones who are, and their cowardice in not marginalizing their own crazies has been their downfall. I couldn't get Neil deGrasse Tyson, a genius scientist and preeminent scientific voice in the media, to agree that it was ridiculous for Scientific American and The Atlantic to be claiming that separating sports by sex doesn't make sense. Yes, it does. Actually, it makes perfect sense.
Maher doesn't dance around the topic, he charges straight in. From his viewpoint, the woke left has drifted completely away from reality. Irrational, disconnected, and driven by ideological fantasy. Even worse, many experts who should be grounded scientists, academics, commentators, seem to have abandoned logic in favor of rigid dogma. It's like common sense was swapped out for a fragile belief system that crumbles at the slightest challenge. You hear their proposals, their moral lectures, their sweeping declarations, and nothing lines up. Yet they twist logic into bizarre shapes to defend ideas that collapse under scrutiny. Maher's argument is forceful. Any movement that trades truth for mythology creates disorder disguised as virtue.
And there's a lot of stuff like that on the left. And when conservatives see it, they say, I'm sorry, we're just not going to go along with reinventing society, often pointlessly, even if we have to cancel democracy to do it. That's what they're saying. They see gender as only a construct and sex is assigned at birth, and they say, we're not doing that. Transing kids by self-diagnosis with no age limit, no parental notification, and no acknowledgement of social contagion, not doing.
Just think about the basics. How can anyone sincerely claim biological sex doesn't exist when science, observation, and anatomy all point to clear distinctions between males and females? These differences aren't imagined, they're evident and measurable. Still, the woke left tries to silence anyone who brings it up, as if facts themselves are taboo. And then it goes even further. Maher points out the alarming push to let minors, kids who can't legally drive, drink, or vote, make irreversible decisions that permanently alter their bodies. Question that leap of logic, and suddenly you're branded the extremist. It's insanity, it's irresponsible, and it shows just how far ideology has replaced reasoning. Maher's message lands hard. Ignoring biology and using children as political props isn't empathy. It's dangerous delusion.
Asylum now covers any reason for anyone to come to America, not doing it. Homelessness is a lifestyle. Natural immunity doesn't count anymore. Whiteness is toxic. This is in women's prisons. Welcoming the Intifada. We're not doing it.
Maher then fires off a quick list of woke priorities the left urgently needs to abandon. None of this is rocket science. Dropping these fringe ideas could actually help solve the very problems progressives claim to champion. Take homelessness, for example. Instead of glorifying it or turning entire neighborhoods into makeshift tent cities, why not focus on solutions that restore dignity? Provide treatment, housing, support, and rehabilitation. Real steps that actually help people rebuild their lives. Calling endless sidewalk encampments compassionate is simply cruelty dressed as virtue, harming both those on the streets and the communities forced to absorb the fallout.
If we are ever going to get back to the old America, that's got to be the Democrats' part of the bargain. Stop coming up with radically new and often terrible ideas, and then in the next breath insist there be no debate about any of it. That if you don't see it right away and go along, you're bad, stupid, and deplorable. As if you were saying, duh, 2 + 2 = 5, isn't that obvious? Yeah, it's obvious you can't add. You can't just say
Maher also calls out the woke movement for constantly trying to impose its worldview on the entire population. His point is straightforward. No one is obligated to adopt the identity constructs, language rules, or value systems the woke crowd demands. Disagreement isn't hate, it's freedom. But this ideology cannot stomach dissent. It expects full compliance. Meanwhile, regular Americans stay focused on practical concerns: safety, family, stability, and functioning communities, things far more important than the latest identity trend posing as social progress. Pushing society into ideological experiments isn't advancement. It's a soft form of authoritarian pressure masquerading as kindness. Maher's warning is clear. If the left wants trust back, it must stop dictating how everyone else should think and live.
You can't just say math is racist, queers for Palestine, looting is cool, healthy at any weight. If the men's football team played the women's team, it would be a tie. You can't just say.
Maher drives home a simple truth the woke left refuses to grasp. You cannot manufacture facts to fit your worldview and expect society to nod along. Truth isn't malleable. It's anchored in evidence and objective reality. But too often, the left operates within its own insulated echo chamber, repeating feel-good narratives until they sound like truth. Maher urges them to step outside that ideological bubble and engage with the world as it is, not as they wish it to be. Only then can real debate and actual problem-solving take place. The bottom line: progress built on fantasy is doomed. Ignore truth and you destroy the foundations required for a stable society.
I mean, you can, but it doesn't make it true because you're not Harry Potter. Smug self-righteousness in the defense of some of the dumbest ideas to ever come down the pike is not a formula that's really working for you. Because here's one thing I can promise every liberal in this country: the Democrats can win every election from now until forever. And the people who now hold the reins of power will not give a and will not give it back if they think you're still nutty.
While I don't fully accept the claim that conservatives would cling to power if they lost an election, I still believe putting progressives back in control is a recipe for disorder. We've watched what happens when woke theory becomes policy. Systems break. Idealistic slogans collapse when applied in the real world. Symbolic gestures replace solutions. Leaders become more focused on emotional storytelling than concrete results. If voters want another round of that, fine. It's their choice. But let's not act surprised when the consequences unfold. We've lived through it already. Economic strain, cultural hostility, institutional decline, and non-stop polarization. Choose woke leadership and you inherit the fallout.
Let's make one last stab at a grand bargain between the two sides that hate each other so much. America used to do this all the time, make bargains, and I've suggested many myself, like, you stop saying fetuses are the same as babies, and we'll stop saying trans women are the same as biological women. You stop saying alternative facts, and we'll stop saying my truth. You stop saying thoughts and prayers, and we'll stop with the land acknowledgement.
Take a moment here. One side of this debate is rooted in objective biological truth, and the other is fueled by imagination. A fetus is not a metaphor. It is a developing human being with organs, a heartbeat, and undeniable biological progression. Ending that life is not symbolic. It is literal. Meanwhile, allowing biological males to compete in women's sports is something entirely different, an identity-driven concept that distorts fairness and reality. These two debates don't belong in the same category. One concerns the defense of the most vulnerable human form. The other indulges fantasies that erase basic biological boundaries. Maher lumps them together, but he shouldn't. They're fundamentally different issues with radically different moral implications.
You admit there's no such thing as voter fraud, and we'll admit that getting a picture ID isn't really that hard to do. Stuff like that.
Maher is right about one thing. America can only survive if both sides eventually meet in the middle. But here's the catch: compromise cannot rest on comforting lies or ideological illusions. It must be grounded in truth, verifiable, logical, evidence-based truth. Anything built on deception is doomed to collapse. Lies may feel convenient, but they can't support unity. Real harmony requires confronting unpleasant reality, not rewriting it. Maher's conclusion rings loud. The country cannot function if one half lives in fantasy and the other half refuses to acknowledge its own flaws. The left must abandon woke delusion, the right must address its weaknesses, and both must operate within the realm of facts. Unity built on falsehoods is a disaster waiting to happen. If America wants real unity, it must unite around reality, not ideology. That's all for today's video. If you enjoyed the analysis, hit like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.